Hello, my beautiful friends. Seidel Schultz here, vocal intuitive and light-filled astrologer, and we are talking about healing our communication. We're talking specifically about Chiron in the third house, which is the house of communication. So when I look at someone's natal chart, I'm really listening to their chart. I'm listening to the planets. I'm listening to what the planets are saying. And as I listen to Chiron, I really hear Jesus. Chiron is all the wounded healer. It's all about our wounding. It's all about where we can become a healer, right? Because our our weaknesses can become our strengths, our message, and this is where we experience that exact same thing. So our wounded healer. And what is Jesus? Jesus is the ultimate healer. He is the healer. And so this is where I see Jesus in our natal charts. It's where I see where we can really have this personal one-on-one relationship with Jesus in our lives. So let's talk about the third house for just a second. So the third house really is a lot about communication. It can be as well about like our early years of education. It can be about siblings, but this is really, oh my gosh, just so much about communication. I was just thinking, um, I I have someone close to me in my life that their Chiron is in the third house, and I can very much see that their wounding is in communication. Not that they wound with their communication, but frequently when they talk about the wounding or the trauma that they have had, it's because someone said something. Like it always starts with he said or she said. And so it's very apparent that their wounding is in communication. And this person very much values open and honest and a healthy communication. Not that we all don't, but it's just at a higher priority for her. So Jesus brings healing in this area of our life, wherever Chiron is at in our natal chart. And Chiron is represented by the key looking thing. So go ahead and take a look at your chart, see where the key is at, what house it's in, what sign it's in, and this will really give you an indicator of where you can have a personal relationship with Jesus in your life and where you can allow Jesus to really bring that healing in. And then we take a look at the sign, and the sign is really going to show us what value Jesus is bringing to our lives or what value we innately want brought into our lives through Jesus. So let's start at the beginning of the list with Aries. So Aries is so fantastic. I say I'll often describe Aries as a kind of a blowtorch energy is like this really like push and drive. But it's so good. It gets bodies moving, and it gets bodies moving in this area with communication. So, what is Jesus bringing to the third house? If you have a third house in, or your Chiron in the third house in Aries, he's really bringing you this ability to be and go and do, just like be really present in the moment and then just like snap into action, which I very much love. Like you can just have the ability to say those things and to say things in your life and show up in a way of communication where you can just be you. Okay, the next sign is Taurus, and Taurus is this really grounded energy. It's this really it feels like a very earthy energy to me. Like I think of Taurus and I think of trees, and I think of the grass and how a grounding and stable the grass is. And so when you have Chiron in Taurus in the third house, Jesus is bringing that really stable, grounded energy to your communication, this like really abundant communication. And I really appreciate that abundance. It doesn't necessarily mean like abundance of words. That's not what I mean. Abundance is, I mean like really great things come from your communication, and they can come from your communication. And the thing that I'm just like hearing so clearly right now is when you do this, it's like putting Jesus between you and everybody else so that you can really hear what they're saying and they can really hear what you're saying as well, which creates a lot of abundance, like abundance of clarity, right? Okay, so the next sign is Gemini, and I love this. It kind of goes along with what I was just saying. Gemini is so fun. Gemini is so intellectual, and Gemini can really like see both sides. But to me, it's like this like heaven to earth kind of feeling. It's different than like an oracle, or like an oracle like speaking intuitively. But it's similar to that, like really understanding information and really like getting it from heaven, and then just like they're because they're bridging the gap, right? They're bridging the gap of understanding. So Jesus can help you bridge the gap in understanding communication. Who doesn't want that? I super want that. And that this is so great for those of you that have Chiron in Gemini in the third house. Okay, the next sign that we're going to go over is Cancer. Cancer is so nurturing. Cancer is so loving. And people that have Chiron in the third house, it just really feels like Jesus is bringing them to this space where they can feel nurtured in communication, and they can give nurturing in communication. Isn't that so fantastic? It just is such a reminder to me that where we find healing, we can also offer healing. We can also facilitate that healing because we understand what it's like to have been in that space. And so when Jesus really brings you to the space of nurturing in your communication, then you can be nurturing in your communication. You can be heart centered and feeling in your communication. And that just feels so incredible. All those feelings, so many great feelings. Okay, so the next sign we're going to talk about is Leo. Leo is already on its own a very expressive sign. When I hear the sound of Leo in someone's voice, it encourages others to express. So this feels like a very, I don't know, another way to say it besides like it feels very homey to have Leo in the third house, even though Gemini is the ruler of the third house, right? But Leo still feels very at home because it's such an expressive sign. And so when you have Chiron in that third house, you really have in Leo, you really have Jesus coming in and saying, "Let me help you express. Let me help you be at a place where expression feels natural, it feels exciting, it feels fun, it feels like invigorating." That's what it feels like to me, just like this really invigorating space. I just want to stop and say this is like totally side note, but I just want to say in doing these series about the series about Chiron in the houses, like Jesus in the different houses and the different signs, my biggest worry was the repetition of like explaining the signs and explaining what this means. But this is what I just am feeling so big right now, is that you can have the essence of the sign, and you can have like the yeah, the essence, like the foundation of what the sign is at. But when you have it in that house, like in Chiron, in that specific house, is going to kind of express a little bit different. Like it has its own expression. And I do want to say, and I want to note too, like you have aspects. So like Chiron is going to be connected to other things in your chart, and that will impact your like the way that you experience and express Chiron in your life, the way that you experience and express Jesus in your life. So if you want me to take a look at your natal chart, if you want to do a diagnostic session with your voice, right? Because it's all about the voice, this whole thing, like looking at your natal chart, and and looking at Chiron in the third house, it's all about experiencing and expressing Jesus, experiencing and expressing this healer that you have inside of you. And so if you want to understand your personal Chiron better, go ahead and look at the description, and I will have in there a link to book a diagnostic session with me. Okay, well, let's keep going. So that was for Leo in the third house. Now we're going to talk about Virgo in the third house. I love Virgo very much. And I personally have Virgo in the third house, not with Chiron in there, but Virgo in the third house. So Virgo in the third house is very detailed in their communication. But what I love about it coming through the lens of Jesus is Jesus really directs the details. I just want to say, mic drop. Not from my words, not because I said it, but because that's what Jesus brings. Like, who else do you want to bring the details into your life? I just want Jesus to bring the details. Like, I don't want anybody else to bring the details in my life, just Jesus. And so he really brings a space of the details in your life. And he can really help you be in this space from going from wounding with communication to being this incredible oracle with communication because he is bringing you the details. How beautiful is that? Okay, the next sign is Libra. So Libra again is this sign that's very much about peace. It's very much like, I don't know, I say like what is the word? PC. It's not PC. But you know what I'm talking about? It's like the like political. It is PC, politically correct. Like Libras are, especially people with their moon in Libra, well, any of their big signs in Libra, they're very good at being politically correct, like making sure, like keeping the balance and like really seeing these sides. And so this is what Jesus is bringing to you in your house of communication, in the communication in your world. This is why I love the third house, right? Because it's all about communication. It's all about the vocal expression in our lives. And so this is what Jesus is bringing. He's bringing like this PC thing to your life where it's like, okay, we're going to get to balance, and as we do that, we're going to communicate in a way that like it is bringing balance, right? So we are going to have to go through the jungle to get to the other side. You can't just like go around, you need to go through. And Libra really brings that to us. It's like, okay, it's safe to go through. We're going to go through. We're going to go through it in a way that, I mean, it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but we're going to help you feel the most comfortable you can while being uncomfortable. So I hope that makes sense. I really love Libra so much. My cheeks are going to hurt from smiling so much doing these videos. I just love Jesus so much. Okay, so let's talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is very much about the depths and like going into the depths and like going into the cave. So Scorpio is cave, but it also creates so much incredible movement. Like when it comes out, it's just like probably good when they mean like that was like a waterfall coming out of my mouth, but it's like movement and like this big movement and this movement inside our bodies. So what is Jesus bringing? He is bringing this big movement. He's bringing this ability to go deep in communication and to create this deep healing with communication. And like not just with the communication with ourselves or with someone else, but like I say things and it creates deep healing. That's what I mean by Scorpio in the third house and what Jesus can bring in there. Okay, then the next one we have is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, oh, I love Sagittarius. When I hear Sagittarius moon speaking, when I talk about a Sagittarius moon speaking to me, because right, this like the sound. When I think about that, my third eye starts buzzing and my heart starts getting all heated up because Sagittarius really speaks from the head and it hits the heart. And and it's just like, how beautiful is that? This is where Jesus can take you. Those of you that have Chiron in the third house in Sagittarius is this place where you are just like speaking logically and from the head, but it's just hitting the heart. It's like the connection between the two is so on fire and so magical. It ends up being like this arrow straight to the heart. And so your communication can then be straight to the heart. I just love that so much. Okay. Next sign, and we have 3 left: Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Capricorn is fantastic. So when I see Capricorn, what I see is like, I see 2 images. The first one is like a bowling alley with the bumper lanes up. And then the second is a stream or a river or a creek or whatever with and in order to have that, you have banks on the side, right? So they create a structure for success. They create a structure for flow. And this is what Capricorn does. Capricorn creates a structure for flow. Who wants more flow in their communication? How beautiful is that? So if you have Capricorn in the 3rd house and you're experiencing a lack of flow in your communication, bring Jesus into that. Bring Jesus into your life and let him help you heal your communication and to let him help you create the structure in your communication so that you can have flow, so that you can have success in your communication with others. Okay. Aquarius. Let's talk about Aquarius. Aquarius is very much like this jet energy. This is how experiences sound. It's like I I put in the destination and we are gonna go there. And we are just like getting there. We're like as the bird flies, we're gonna get there. And that's what I love about Aquarius. And as we bring Jesus into the 3rd house, into communication, it's just like maybe you're feeling like you're a little bit too much. And Jesus is just like, we're going to get you there. We're going to get you to this place where it feels good. And it's direct and it's straightforward. Or maybe you're feeling like you can't be you in communication. And this is where Jesus is saying, I'm going to take you there. I'm going to take you there. And I really love that. And we're going to get there. We're going to go as the crow flies. We're going to be direct in our communication. And we're going to take the fastest route. And I know, like, for some people, I was like, a Cancer. I don't want to, like, just be nice to me as you say it. But this is so valuable for those that have their Chiron in the 3rd house. We need those people that are going to be direct in their communication, that are going to be direct and help us heal in that kind of a way. Okay, so then we have our last but not least, we have Pisces. And I am kind of loving talking about Pisces last in all of these videos because Pisces is very much a Jesus energy. It's very much this intuitive, this forgiving energy. And when I think about Jesus in the 3rd house in Pisces for people in Chiron, right? Chiron in the 3rd house. It's just like this very forgiving energy. Not that you forgive and forget and that you let people walk all over you, but it's kind of like, I see why you said that, and I see how that came about, and I can also see that's not exactly what you mean. So it's like being in tune and like really being in tune with God to hear what's actually being said and offering the space of forgiveness for yourself and for other people. And it's just a really beautiful, beautiful thing to experience with communication because I think we all need a little bit of forgiveness with communication in our life. So that's the 3rd house. That's Jesus or Chiron in the 3rd house in all these experiences and all these different signs. So if you like this information that I share, go ahead and like and subscribe for more videos about Chiron. I'll be sharing more videos for the sounds of astrology for different planets and what I hear through those planets and how I hear them in people's voices. So go ahead and like and subscribe. Share this video with anybody that you know that has a Chiron in the 3rd house, and we will see you next time.